Hi, hello. Welcome to Gold Nugget, JAW_success. If this is your first time to the channel, let me welcome you. If you have already subscribed, let me thank you for joining me on this growth path. Today, my nugget is, who do you look like? When God created man, he said, let us make them in our likeness and our image. For years, one of my big challenge has been, am I ugly? Am I handsome? Who do I look like? Who should I be like? Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And the more I think about that, is the more I ask myself the question, whose image am I in? Whose likeness am I in? You see, image and likeness determine how we act, how we live, where we go, the things we do, the people we associate with, and it dictates ultimately our destiny. Because we can either take on the image of the place that we occupy, the people we are around, or we can manifest a likeness that is outside of where we are. And this is the revelation that came to me, that image and likeness, not only are they two different things, the likeness that I have could come from my natural surrounding, but the image I portray is something spiritual, it's something deeper, it's something that defines my characteristic as it relates or in relation to the person who created me. In other words, the supernatural being that brought me into existence. The likeness I have is from the two people that procreated to bring me here. So I may look like my brothers and sisters. I may resemble my father. In fact, some of my behaviors, habits, even though I may not have spent time or a lot of time with either of these two individuals, there are certain things, back then we call them generational curse. These things are upon us, and it doesn't matter how difficult it is for us to, or how hard rather, we try to break them. It's very difficult for us to break them. In fact, I was filling out a form today, and the form asked me some question. Do you ever have this? Do you ever have that? Then it goes on to ask me, is there anyone in your family who has ever had this? Is there anybody in your family who has ever suffered from a heart attack? Is there anybody in your family that has ever suffered from a blood clot? Is there anybody from in your family that has ever had Alzheimer's and all of these things? And I was thinking about them, and I was saying, it is possible for somebody in my family to have any of these things. Thank God so far, I don't know of anybody who have any of these things. But it is known that if your family is pre-diagnosed or have some traits, then I should say, of certain qualities and stuff, it might come down to your generation. That's why doctors tend to ask, is there anybody in your family who's an hemophiliac? Is there anybody in your family who suffer from diabetes and all of these kind of stuff? So they are checking out your likeness. Who are you likely to be like? But when it comes on to image, it is that which now God has created in each of us to be. For example, nobody teach a fish how to swim. Fish is born with the potential to swim. Nobody teach a bird how to swim. It's born with the potential. Yes, mama bird may have to do certain things to the nest to force the baby bird to come out of the nest. And as I think about that, I want to say, it's the same way, the likeness that is in us, God has placed that in us. We were born with certain characteristics of God. And in this nugget, I'm challenging even my own self to find the characteristic of God that is in me. And I have learned that I cannot find that out unless I am in His Word. Now, I have some friends on Facebook and YouTube who tend to comment on videos that I put out, and some of the response that they get is to try and tell me that Jesus is not a real God. He's a ship. Black people are the true Jews and all of that kind of stuff. I don't care about those things. You know what I care about? The knowledge that when God created me, He placed everything that I need in me for success. Everything that I need in me to give Him glory. And if I can discover that, which is where I am challenging you in this nugget to discover what you were created for. Yes, we can get a check sheet from a doctor to tick off, are you African American? Tick. Are you Afro-Caribbean? Tick. Are you a male? Tick. Are you 5 feet 10 inches? Tick. And you can keep ticking. But all you will be ticking is your likeness. Your image, however, is not something you can just easily tick. The image you have is going to be found in the God you serve. If you don't find your image in the God you serve, you know where you will find it? You'll try to find it in a bottle. You will try to find it in drugs, alcohol, whatever it be. You will try to find it in music, in parties, in dance. You will try to find it in the opposite sex. You may even try to find it in a new sect. Whether you be LGBTQ, PURSTWEXZY and Z and whatever else, you may try to find it in that, but it will never be found in that. You know why? Because none of us was created to have an image that is of this world. None of us. The image we were created to have is the image of God. And that is why Jesus came into the world, to bring us back to the image that we are supposed to have. That image that has authority over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, over the animals of the land, and everything that passeth through the earth. I looked at a video some time ago that talked about the law of attraction. And the law of attraction basically says, whatever you portray yourself to be, that is what is going to come to you. And that is true. And you know why it is true? And it's not just the law of attraction, it's the law of God. Who you think you are is who you are. Because that's the image you're taking on. If you take on a poor image, that's what you're going to be. If you take on a rich image, that is who you're going to be. That's why the scripture admonishes us to let the weak say I'm strong. Let the poor say that I am rich. Let the person who is weak and feeble and fainting get up and say, no, listen, I am moving in all of my might. Every individual who has done great things for God and through God are individuals who saw themselves in the eyes of God. And to epitomize this, even Jesus, when he came, he said, I am not doing anything that I have not seen my Father do. You know why? Because he's taking on the image of his Father. And I'm saying to you in this nugget, take on the image of the God of heaven. Because unless we bear his image, his likeness, at the end of the day, what we are going to have is just a human characteristics. And the human characteristic that we sometime will have, it might be rich, can fly plane, go here or there, vacation here or there, but we will never be able to command a spirit, command a life that says, whether I am rich, famous, poor, and needy, eternity will remember me as a son of God. And that is why I'm saying to you in this nugget today, be who you are supposed to be. Take on the likeness of the person you are supposed to be, not the image of somebody. Yeah, you can bear somebody's image, but the likeness is what is important. Go get your likeness and let that likeness be to the glory of God. This is JAW saying to you, by all means necessary, create a way out. God bless you. Bye.